I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia. What's happening, folks?
And I'm Sam Healey. Hello.
Now, today we're talking about a company called Rio Grande Games. Rio Grande Games was started by Jay Tomlinson, who still runs the company. He worked for Mayfair back in the day when they brought settlers over, and he was very instrumental in getting things like Catan. I guess it's called Catan now.
Thank you.
That
was a close call.
Getting Catan over to America, and so he spun off his own company and started bringing games from Germany over. What would happen is back then they would basically he would print with them, and then at the beginning they were just putting English rules in the games, and then eventually he was printing some of the components differently and doing joint print runs. But for a long time, I would say for at least a good 5 to 10 year period almost, it was Rio Grande. If you wanted a Euro game in English, it was either Mayfair, which was mostly Catan, or Rio Grande.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, as the years have gone by, other companies have stepped in, and some of the licenses have switched brands. For example, Hans im Glück used to do all their games in English through Rio Grande. Now they do it through Z-Man. So Carcassonne, for example, is a Rio Grande game. There's been games that Queen did with Rio Grande, but now Queen does them themselves. That's too confusing for us to try to figure out and match out. So, on our top 10 list today, we've done any game that has ever been printed by Rio Grande.
Yep.
I think we did that. We just went to Board Game Geek and looked at Rio Grande games. I thought was the easiest way to do it.
Yep. Well, what I did is just so there was no confusion, I just made sure all 10 games I picked were out of print. So, it won't matter who made them, because you can't find them.
So basically, it's more of the same.
I was going to say,
basically,
that's a typical top 10, huh?
Basically, my MO. No. I'm kidding.
To clarify, Rio Grande hasn't made many games that are original. There's a few games, and I probably would be on our list, maybe a couple of them, that are original to Rio Grande. And so some people's like, big deal. All they did was reprint other games. But we got to give them credit. Jay had a good eye for games. He found really cool games and brought them to America and was very instrumental in the whole gaming revolution to some degree. And while Rio Grande is not the force that they were, say, 10 years ago, they'll go down in the history books for that reason.
Yep.
All right, number 10.
Number 10.
Well, before Sam goes, how much crossover do you think we'll have?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to say 4 games on my list. Ooh.
Okay, I have 2 games that will be... I have 3 games, I think, that will be on all 3 of our lists, and 5 that I'll match with Z.
Wow, okay, I'll go with that.
All right.
I was thinking probably 4 or 5.
And I do have my top 20, just so I can throw that info out there.
Well, thanks.
So do I.
Really? Okay, here we go.
I didn't order my 11 through 20 though.
I'm feeling left out here. All right. Anyway, number 10.
My number 10, Transamerica. Okay, good.
Snappy!
Now, is that Transamerica or Trans-Europa? Or you don't care?
It's Transamerica, Trans-Europa, whatever you'd like. This is a game that I used a lot when I was playing games with my Korean students in Korea when I was teaching at a language institute. And the reason was because basically you've probably seen the memes where, an Asian thinks that LA is like 3/4 of America, and then everything else is and there's not a whole lot of distruth there. There's a lot of that. They think in very big pockets. LA, New York.
Well, to be fair, we think Americans think that about other countries too.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that the people that we deal with, I'm not trying to pigeonhole Asians only that do that. I'm just saying that the kids that I was dealing with were very much like that. And so in order to try to teach them a little bit more American geography, where cities were, I used Transamerica. And it was a really cool avenue to do that because you have the cards that you have to use, and you pick one from each, and that gives you that spatial element. Okay, well, Dallas is down here, and it actually has the picture on the card, and then it's on the board as well. The game itself is elementary as far as that's concerned. Think of an easier Ticket to Ride would probably be what Transamerica would be. because you don't have to use your own line. You can actually link up with other people's, and that's kind of the cat and mouse of the game. You don't want to be the one that connects. You want somebody else to connect all of those transcontinental lines so that you can start building over here and not have to do that. But anyway, Transamerica is a really fun game, but it's a very elementary game. So I think you could probably grow out of it, and that's why it's on my number 10.
Gotcha.
So that's my number 10, Transamerica.
That's probably my number 200 or so.
Not on my list.
Vexation, I like the little mini expansion for it. Vexation, that helped the game out a lot.
Yeah.
All right, my number 10 is a game I don't think either one of you would have picked, and that is Goa. Goa is one of those straight-up Euro games where when you're done with it, you don't really, the theme doesn't have anything to do with anything. But it's about spices and what the islands, I forget what islands, the Spice Islands. Anyhow, it has some cool components, little spice bags, but the whole thing is about this board where you have different tracks, and you're moving the things up the different tracks so that you can then, you basically it's like a technology
like
almost in a
building,
Euro game.
right? I mean,
it is kind of an engine building game, and depending on, you can move one up very far, you get a lot of points in that, but then if you move them all up, you get bonuses, and there's some auction thrown into it. There was a time where this would have made my top 3, I think. I really was fascinated with it. As time has gone by, I'm starting to realize that there's a lot of other games that do very similar things to Goa. But I think it does what it does very well. So it just made my list at number 10. But it's a pretty strong Euro game, as long as you realize the theme is pretty much obsolete in it.
Well, there was a point that Goa would have been my top 20 at some point. So, but it's nowhere in there. All right, my number 10 is Ra, the dice game. I really like Ra, the bidding game with set bids in which you're not really bidding any amount you want, but you have specific bids you can bid. But Ra, the dice game, takes that and makes it faster, makes it a dice game, obviously, makes it a fun sort of push your luck game instead of the more cerebral older brother. And I really like it. I think it's a great filler. It goes over well every time I've played it. It's quick. It doesn't get a whole lot of love, and it might be out of print, I'm not sure. But it is.
Just assume it is.
Well, no, the rest might not be. I really like it. I think Ra, the dice game, is a really good dice game that if you haven't seen or heard about, you should check out. My number 10.
I think Ra, the dice game, is better than Ra. And I know that's a minority opinion. A lot of people like Ra.
Spoiler alert, Ra is not on my list, so I agree.
Oh, okay. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ra just seemed to have fun. Ra, the dice game, Ra had fun in parts, especially when someone's trying to pull a tile and you're like, pull Ra, Ra, Ra.
Right.
Okay? Right. But like Z said, that fun kind of hid this very cerebral game. So Ra, the dice game just turned it into fun.
Cool.
Number 9.
I feel positive my number 9 is not on Sam's list. One partnership that Rio Grande did really well was working with Cosmos, especially the 2-player line, so I had to put Lost Cities on my list. Lost Cities is...
I might have changed my mind.
Huh?
I might have changed my mind.
Yeah, I doubt it. Lost Cities is just it's one of the games in my collection I probably played almost more than any other game, and that's because my wife likes it so much, and I just had a lot of great battles with her, and I played it again against her recently and got destroyed, but that's not the point. The point is that I still thought it was incredibly fun. It used to be in my top 20 games. It's fallen down quite a bit, but if I'm picking top games to play with my wife, it'd be much higher.
Yeah. Well, Lost Cities is my number 13.
I thought that one might be higher in yours, but all right.
All right, my number 9 is Carcassonne the City, which is my favorite Carcassonne version. The city is a lot like regular Carcassonne, tile drawing and placement, and city building game. But I like the city because it builds that. It has a really cool 3D element where it builds that big wall around the outside. The game sort of speeds up as you go, and just the tweaks that they did to the base game and sort of turned it into gamers Carcassonne. They kind of they punched it up a little bit. Really make it a very good game to play with gamers.
Even though it's gamers Carcassonne, I teach this to new people all the time.
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
No, it's not. It's not. I think people see it that way because they come from Carcassonne. You know what I mean? If you don't know what to compare it to, you just go into it going, hey, this is a cool sort of building game, and look at these walls, and look at these towers. And so it's a very cool looking game. Carcassonne, this city is my number 9.
That was my number 11.
Nice.
Number 11. Wow. Okay. My number 9 is El Grande. It is a game that goes pretty much far back. It's probably
Came out in 90.
I want to say the oldest, maybe.
When did that come out?
1995.
5?
Won the Spiel des Jahres.
That's what I wanted to
probably
say.
The oldest game on my list, but this is kind of the game for me that put area control back on the map, I guess. Maybe.
Well, it put area control on the map, I think.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. You could say Risk is area control. You could say that type of stuff. But, I mean...
You could.
Aside from...
You'd be wrong.
No, you wouldn't.
No,
Just go.
You wouldn't, Sam, because we're afraid.
That's stupid. How is Risk not area control?
And no one said it wasn't. We're agreeing with you.
You were liars. Bunch of weirdos. El Grande put area control back on the map. Where's that?
Just go.
Where's that smack? I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the Cube Tower. That was a cool little... I guess it was a gimmick back then. But...
it's a way to hide stuff.
It's
but
just a way to hide.
Cool.
I know,
yeah.
but it's cool.
It's grandiose.
Yeah, it's great. It's cool, and that was a eye catcher for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed the area control mechanic. That's the only reason it really made my list. The Cube Tower, which is something extra. But anyway, El Grande, my number 9.
Cool.
Number 8.
My number 8 is one of the games from the Mask series of games, and it's the first one, my favorite, Tikal.
Oh, I thought it was about trucks turning with guns coming out.
The Mask
Jim Carrey
is the Tikal in Java and Mexica. The other two, not as big a fan of, but Tikal I really, really like, and I love the exploration in this one. It's really
Tikal 1.
Yeah, you got one?
No, Tikal 1.
Tikal 1. Yeah, there's a sequel. That's right. I didn't even remember the sequel.
Who did it beat?
Tikal. Huh?
Who did it beat?
All right, we're really
Who did it beat?
we're going off the path here. Coming
Tikal
back.
1. Who did it beat?
Oh, it beat
right,
Tikal 2, Sam.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I love the exploration in it. I love the it's a point action game, so your turns are very sort of free. You can do whatever you want to. And just the look of the game, the way it develops, the way you sort of eat into the jungle and discover the temples and all that, it gives me a great Indiana Jones kind of feel, you know? I just love exploration in games anyway, and this one it's a heavy Euro, but the exploration makes it a palatable game for me. So my number 8 is Tikal.
All right.
Put it in.
Oh, it's my turn.
Is your number 8 also
Get out of
Tikal?
My number 8 is Power Grid. Power Grid is a game that I have had an on and off relationship with. I used to really enjoy it, and then it kind of... No, I'm sorry. I used to not like it because it was so mathy, and then it came around a little bit more, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. I got rid of my copy when I moved from California to here because we were running short on space, and it was part of a mini culling that I had to do with my collection at that point. But I just reacquired it to help these two fellas. And hopefully it's going to hit the table. I'm going to give it a whirl with my family here in the next couple of weeks. I don't know exactly when. We've got a lot of baseball and softball games going on. But anyway, Power Grid is a really cool game about just building your grid of power for... Did you see what I did there?
Yes, I did.
With all these different cities and gaining as many points as possible, making sure that you can power those cities as efficiently as possible and trying to get the best power plants. And that was probably not the best description of it, but it's a really cool game, and it has stood the test of time. So Power Grid was my number 8.
Not on my list, but I remember it being on my shore list.
It's not on your list, huh?
It would have been like 21, 22.
Wow. I thought that would have been on your top 10. All right. My number 8 is a Knizia game, Amen Ray. This is kind of an odd game. Doesn't get a lot of...
That's a great review. This is kind of an odd game.
No, but I mean, it doesn't get a lot of play or buzz these days, but it's one that
It's pretty old, too.
Yeah, it is. It's over 10 years old. But I really enjoy the auctioning in it. It has my favorite kind of auctioning, I think, is probably that set auctioning. That's in
Vegas Showdown.
Vegas Showdown, and it's in
it's in Cyclades.
Okay, in Cyclades, right. And it's not really in many games, but Amun-Re is one of those games it's in. But Amun-Re has kind of this cool thing that you can do as you're auctioning off and building these pyramids, and then halfway through the game, it resets everything except the pyramids stay there. So now when you auction off, like Zee might have been working hard on something, and now I can get that.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. It's like showing two different generations, and it's almost like two games, except the first game directly impacts the second one. And so I just think it's a really cool idea. It plays pretty smoothly, but it's a heavier type game. It's not hard to maybe teach, but to know how to win. It's one of the games I think I've won as much as I've lost. I think it's one of the few games I feel like I'm better at. Now, when I say that, I'll never win it again. But
yeah, Amun-Re was.
But Amun-Re is my number 8.
It's the games we mentioned. I liked much better than Amun-Re, so it's not on my list.
Oh well.
Number 7.
All right, my number 7 is a game I think not a lot of people have heard about or maybe even played very much.
Shocking!
That was cute. It's called Caveman Quest for Fire. And it's a little card game with really
Also shocking.
obtuse, I don't want to say obtuse, it's got really weird artwork. It's sort of claymation still photography. And it's really cool. I mean, I like it. A lot of people dislike the artwork quite a bit, but I think it's cool. And it's basically sort of a tableau building game. You are gathering tribesmen and women, and you are gathering tools. And the idea is there's a card in the deck which is fire, and if you're able to, when that card comes up, acquire it, then you win the game.
Acquire the fire.
Not as good a title, but yeah, it could have worked. I really like it. I think it's a very neat game. Again, the combo action going on in it is really what makes it for me. The artwork I enjoy. It's quick. It's a cool card game. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. My number 7, Caveman Quest for Fire.
My number 7 might have been my number 2 3 years ago, but it's fallen for 2 years, last year probably, but it's fallen for a very specific reason, which will be pretty obvious. My number 7 is Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Now I really, okay, now look though.
Holding it in!
I really do like Race for the Galaxy. I remember the first time I bought it, and trying to figure out the rules was not the easiest thing in the world. I was like, what does this mean? But once I played through it, when my wife was not impressed with all the iconography, I was like, all right, I'll find someone else to play it with, because I was so intrigued by the idea. And I've played it many, many times.
Yeah.
And it's one of those few games, though, that I feel like I don't want to teach new people it. That ever happens every once in a while. I'm like, do you know how to play Race for the Galaxy? You don't.
Let's play
Well,
this
let's play
instead.
something else. But if I meet someone who knows how to play Race, it's like, let's bring it on. Because it really is a game where someone who has known it and played it will beat the floor with someone new.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even an option. But just the idea of using the cards for different things. Zee and I reviewed San Juan a week or so ago, and Race for the Galaxy kind of progressed from that, or they were developed at the same time, or whatever. It doesn't matter. That idea is one I find fascinating, and I love the space theme. When Race came out, it's not that way today in 2015, but when Race came out, there were very few space games at that point in time. Space-themed games.
Yeah.
So
space-themed games still had that stigma that they didn't sell well.
Right.
Which was a big thing, you know. And now we're past that. But no, you're right. It was
and
a
it's
cool
because
theme.
of Race for the Galaxy. I don't know if it is or not, but that's my number 7.
Cool.
All right, my number 7 is a game that this guy doesn't like at all. Matter of fact, he mocks me whenever I put it on one of my lists. And that is a game called Turn and Taxis.
You can put it on your list.
Yeah, but you mock me every time I do.
You mock me because of what happened that one time.
What happened?
You fell asleep.
He fell asleep playing? Oh, I've heard this.
Yeah, he fell asleep.
That's an achievement, I think.
So my number, what are we on, 7?
7.
Yeah, my number 7 is Turn and Taxis. It is a game whose theme bases itself around the German postal system, and which is eccentric. It's a set collection game, kind of like Ticket to Ride. A lot like Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
And it has some expansions that really make it shine. We had a question a few days ago, well, a few videos ago, rather. Should you buy all of the expansions for a game when you first purchase the game? And I would still say no, play the base game first. But if you can find all the expansions and Turn 'n Taxis for a good deal, I would go ahead and do that. Because the expansions make it better than the base game. Base game is fun in my opinion. I still enjoy it, and I'll still play just the base game. But the expansions, there was one called All Roads Lead to Rome, and there was another one, and I can't remember the name of that expansion, but there was one in between the base game and All Roads.
Actually, I think they both came in the same package. There was two expansions in one.
No.
I don't think so. I think there were 2 boxes.
I don't remember what the other one's
having
called.
3.
The Rome one's the one I remember.
I remember having 3 boxes at one point until I
played the Rome one.
consolidated.
You talked
Yeah.
me into that.
Yeah, it was, and it made it a lot more interesting. He's lying. It made it a lot more interesting.
I haven't actually played any of the expansions, but I think they're really hard to get, as is the base game right now.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird because it didn't win the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah, but it wasn't one of those that they pumped out expansions for. Probably because it was hard to do. The game was sort of clean, you know.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I wish I could. I would play it with the expansions.
Well, I gotta bring it sometime. I'll get you to play it and some other people. Not
Cool.
Tom.
Not Tom. Tom's out.
My number 7, Turn 'n Taxis.
Number 6.
All right, it's time for our first crossover.
Here we go.
And it's with Sam, not Z, actually. And it's not going to be a 3-way one because you said it wasn't on your list, and that's Power Grid.
Nope.
Power Grid, very heavy game, very mathy. The whole game is kind of based on auctions in a sense, but and that's not. It's like made up of a lot of things I don't necessarily like. But the one thing about it that just brings it to the forefront for me is the economic system. It's such a cool one. Where
the market, the
fluctuating market, and how it changes, and even from board to board. You play different boards, the market acts differently on the different boards, and so you have to kind of rearrange it. The market will change based on what power plants come up. If 4 coal power plants come up, coal's going to be something everyone's going after, and so it's a really fascinating way, and it's every game of it I've ever played. I'm thinking about the game the whole time. I don't often stop, and it's not like we still might chit chat, but I am sitting there really thinking, even on your turn, like, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
Where's he going? What's he buying? So my number 6, Power Grid.
Cool. Yeah, I like Power Grid quite a bit. It just didn't make my top 20 there, but I like that sort of. I like that the game has these sort of big gasps where you like acquire a plant. And then chug it. Like you work, and then you get the next one, and you get the next one, and now it's like, next new push. It feels like that sort of evolution of pushing does give it a cool, cerebral feel. It's a cool game.
Yep.
All right.
My number 6 is a 2-player game from the Cosmos line called Hellas. And
wow, that's pretty high.
No, I really.
Sam really likes this game.
I like this game a lot. Matter of fact, I think I traded away, and this is going to sound really crazy to a lot of people, but I got it in a math trade. I think I got your copy in a math trade.
Oh, that's right. Didn't you trade a big game for that?
I traded away Agricola in that math trade. So I got Hellas for Agricola.
Not my fault, Sam.
No, I don't care. No, I'm fine. I don't like Agricola.
Really? I don't remember that happening, but cool.
I do now. Wow.
Yeah, no, people were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like,
had you played Hellas?
Yeah.
And you got my copy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
at least you were getting a game you knew you liked.
Yes.
And as much as I say, if you trade away an expensive game you don't like for one that you do like, who cares?
Yeah, ultimately, right.
Yeah. So anyway, Hellas is this 2-player area control game where you have a group of your own guys that you start off with, and the whole point is to get, I think it's 5 cities. You gain control of 5 cities, and whoever gains control of 5 cities first wins. The problem is that once you get next to somebody, they can attack you pretty much whenever they want, and that takes away a city from you. And it's a very simple combat system where there's not a whole lot of guesswork. You know you're going to win or you know you're going to lose. So there is that back and forth, and you can build backwards away from your front line and win the game that way. So it forces you to attack the other person, so that you have time to continue building your cities behind, away from the back line. And I just like that back and forth. And the theme is really cool. It has that Greek, Sparta versus Troy aspect to it, and that was really cool. Building the ocean was, the tile laying aspect was neither here nor there for me, but I really enjoyed the back and forth that you have to do with attacking each other just to keep yourself in the game.
Yeah, the tile placement is sort of what I was hoping would be good, and that's the part that kind of let me down. But that's not what you like it because of the combat part.
Yeah, the back and forth, having to take cities so that you keep your opponent from getting their 5 cities before you get yours. So it's a really cool 2-player game, and it's one of the 2-player games that I owned in the past. No, I didn't own it in the past. You had a copy, and I played your copy a lot, and then I didn't have a copy to play, and I got that one, and we've played it a few times already since. So,
cool.
Hell is my number 6.
All right, my number 6 is a Stefan Feld game called Notre Dame. Notre Dame is one of the older Stefan Feld games. I really like it.
You really like
this
game, don't you? This is one of your favorite games.
Do you hate Notre Dame?
It's going to be a crossover for your lists.
Yeah?
Pretty sure.
He's no.
Just go.
The game is basically a card drafting game is the main mechanism in the game, but there's also a lot of board play and resource management and all that stuff. But the drafting is really what's cool, with taking your own cards and then a card from each of the next 2 players. It's a simple game, really. It's a Euro though, and it is a dry game, but it's ultimately one that zips along for me. It's almost like the opposite of Power Grid when it comes to that. It's also a Euro, but Power Grid's got that big churning machine thing, and Notre Dame for me feels like it zips along. It does it well. That's kind of how I like my Euros, which is why I like this one so much. So my number 6, Notre Dame.
There's a lot of rats in that game, aren't there?
Well, that's what you don't
Shut
like.
up!
Yeah. The game you have to watch.
The very first game we played of it, I think my city was just like Ratville.
Right.
Ratatouille.
Well, in that one, in Notre Dame at least, it's not as punishing if it sort of keeps hitting the limit. In some of his other later games, Stefan Feld really made him mean.
Right, this is the beginning of his wickedness. And
Yeah.
he's like, people allowed me to slap them in that game. The next one will be worse. And I really think that when Stefan Feld was a child, he had really bad experience in game. People beat him up, and he's like, I'll punish them all with my board games.
Get those gamers.
And then people are loving it.
Yeah.
Like, slap me again. All right, let's move on.
Yes, let's move on.
Hit me again, Stefan.
Let's move on.
This time put some stink on it.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 is a game called Vikings. And it is a game that I have mentioned in many videos.
No surprise.
So the rondelle is what really... Well, first, the Viking theme drew me in. And then...
Psych!
Yeah, exactly.
You've been punked.
The game was like... and the Viking theme is actually just a thin veil, but the game is actually very fun. And it is a cool game. Rondelle was very interesting. That's the first game that pulled me into the rondelle aspects. And building your island was fun, although it was kind of, you had the rows and columns and all that kind of stuff, and it was interesting, but the rondelle is what really kind of captivated me. So, Vikings, my number 5.
Which is not a typical rondelle, by the way. That is just so people don't jump on you. Rondelle, normally you go around it taking actions. This one is like a price wheel, and once like something at the highest price went away, then it would like reset to the next tile that was left.
It's morphed.
Yeah, it was.
Back when
it
that
was
came
sort
out,
of
that was a rondelle.
I guess. It's
Yeah.
round, so it's a cool mechanism.
It's a round, though.
Yes,
round.
there we go.
Viking. My number 5 is an abstract game called Czar from the GIF project series of games, and this is one I did a review of recently. Actually, if you want to see that, and the game is a very simple 2-player game. Takes 15-20 minutes. It's cutthroat right away, which is one of the things I like about it. There's not a lot of build in the game. You don't spend a lot of turns sort of playing the cat and mouse thing. It's like right away you're doing that, and you got to be careful, or you will put yourself in a corner in 5 minutes. I like that a lot, and it's a clean game, very clean design, but cuts to the quick right away. Czar, a really good abstract game, one of my favorite abstract games out there, and my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is a game that turned the game world on its head and was number 1 on Board Game Geek for a while, and Sam hates it, but I like it. Puerto Rico. Hey, if you can put turning taxes, I can put Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Puerto Rico is a game that every time I play it, I'm just amazed by how well it's put together. And I love the role selection. When I pick something, I get to do it and everyone else does. And the role selection was refined. We mentioned San Juan.
Yeah.
And it even invaded. Puerto Rico had a direct influence on Sam's favorite game. So you can't hate it too much. From Twilight Imperium. No, he says right in the book. In the back of the book, he says.
He says he thinks,
does.
yeah.
So anyhow, but I think it's a very solid point generation game with two very distinct strategies, shipping or selling and building big buildings,
Right.
and then mixtures of those. But I mean, it worked well, and I think it was a predecessor for many games that are out. And I really feel that if Puerto Rico came out in 2015 as opposed to when it did come out, it would still be a strong contender that people would like. As opposed to many of these other games, like, for example, Goa and such. I think if Goa came out today, it would not make the splash it did when it came
I
out.
think Goa would still make a splash today.
Maybe.
It was a solid Euro. I mean,
No, it was.
I compare it to Puerto Rico, and neither one suffers there in that comparison. But no, I get what you're saying. It's one of those games that could have come out today, and it has that timeless feel to it, really.
All right.
So what we can pull away from this conversation is simply this. TI3 is the diamond. Puerto Rico was the rough.
That's rough, Sam.
Yes.
No shine on that argument. All right.
Number 4.
All right. My number 4 is a game called Zuleretto, and it is a game that I have had in my collection for as long as I can remember. It was one of the first. Maybe it was one of the first batches of games that I got after we started getting back into games and purchasing these designer games, as they used to be called. And Zuleretto is a really fun game about taking trucks of animals and building your own little zoo, populating your zoo. And
Sounds like you're using the animals as like bricks. Taking a truck of animals and building
I changed. I said populating my zoo. So you're populating your zoo, and you're trying to get all of your pens filled so that more people, I guess, thematically will come and visit your thing. And then you have to put in little snack stands along the way to maximize points. You're really just trying.
I like the game, but you're making it sound even more fun, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. He's like tying into that like SimCity thing we all have in the back of our heads. We all like to like build stuff.
Yeah, it's like a little Zoo City type game, and it's really cool. It had a lot of strange and needless expansions.
I was about to ask, do you like any of them?
Well, I like some of them, but as I'm thinking about it, none of them are really coming to the forefront of my mind. I mean, Aquaretto had the polar bear, and
Well, that's almost a different game.
yeah, almost. But I mean,
Aquaretto is a different game.
It is a different game, yes, but it's built around the same type of.
It's Zuleretto 2.0.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
So I mean, I remember more of the expansions for Aquaretto, but Aquaretto didn't make my list. Zuleretto did because it had the staying power.
Do you want to know why Aquaretto doesn't make your list? Because water is blue. It's blue.
Were the boards not blue?
No, they were green, and you put fish in.
is blue.
Oh, that's right.
It is blue.
It's
Well, at one point, Zuleretto would have been very high on my list, I gotta say, but haven't played it in a long time. Yeah. It's lost a lot of its luster for me, so it just fell off. It would have been like my 21.
Okay.
My number 4 is another crossover, and once again, it's with Sam.
What is going on?
And this is the game that introduced me to area control, and that is El Grande.
Loser.
He had never played Risk before. It's really why.
No, El Grande is a game that, looking at the game, nowadays it just doesn't really evoke anything, right? It's just a pile of cubes on the board.
Yeah.
But the tower draws you in, right? You're like, what is that tower?
Yeah.
Why are people throwing cubes into it? But it's the card play that really boggles me with El Grande, because you're trying to go first. There's two sets of cards. You have this one set of card where you can go first, but get fewer cubes brought that you get, or you can take a lot of cubes, but then you're probably going to go last. Then there's the which of the cards are you going to pick? Special cards. Some special cards let you put only a few cubes in a board, but give you a powerful special ability. Others let basically there's no special ability, but you can put a pile. And then you're moving this king around, and you can only put them in spots next to him, and the spot where he's at, you can't. And it's vicious. Yeah. You're really going after each other in this area control game and messing with each other, and it works, I think, just as well with 3 as it does with 5. A great game, El Grande.
Cool. All right. My number 4 is a game that Tom just talked about, San Juan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say El Grande.
No. They just talked about it, though. San Juan is one of my gateway games. It and Carcassonne were some of my first games that I ever played in like Sam said, designer games. And still to this day, it holds up extremely well for me. I just love what it brings to the table. I love, like Tom said, using cards in multiple ways, discarding them as cash instead of building the building on them. The draft, the taking of the rolls and hoping to take something, trying to take something that benefits you more than everybody else. And it took Puerto Rico and just put it in this manageable, great bite-sized sort of game. Not that the game's like a 15-minute game, but it just made it palatable to me. I played San Juan first, then I played Puerto Rico after, and I thought, oh, okay, I see it. I get where San Juan came from, but never ever did Puerto Rico get near San Juan for me.
Well, let me ask you this: would San Juan be as high on your list without the second edition / expansion?
Oh,
did that make it go higher, or didn't affect it at all for you?
I like the expansion. I like all the new buildings and all that. But
it's essentially a built-in expansion at this point.
It is, right? But no, the first one. The first one I played many games of, and I've had it for many years. So no, the second one I'm not even taking into account. That's the one that's available now, though. So check that out. But San Juan, for me, that's sort of an evergreen. My number 4, love it.
Number 3.
And here's the game that knocked out Race for the Galaxy, and this is the newest one on my list, and it's Roll for the Galaxy. And I did kind of make fun of Jason, I think, when he put it on his list as one of the best games of the year.
Well, because he walked by it and was like, that's one of the best games. Let me sniff it. This is one of the best games of the year. He rolled 2 dice in it and then declared it amazing.
Okay,
did he complete a full game before he said that?
He might have, I don't know. I'm sure he did.
Nice.
But it really is that fun. It takes dice rolling, which is something I like anyway, and then dice selection, mixes it with the mechanisms of Race in a really, really innovative way, I thought. As I play it, I'm sitting there thinking, how can I use these dice to manipulate them? And I feel like I get more done than I do in Race for the Galaxy. I'm not so much searching through cards to find stuff to build. Instead, I'm taking what I have and working with it. And the manipulation of the dice from on the table into your cup, back onto the table, is a really cool thing on how you can do that. You can do it fast or you can slow down. I don't know. I'm very excited about this one, and I'm glad that my collection. I almost want to say I'm looking forward to the expansions, but I'm nervous about it. I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
Because the Race for the Galaxy expansions were not that fantastic. And oh, come on. I just want an expansion called Here's More Tiles. Just call it that.
Don't mess with the rules, the expansion. Yeah. Well, Roll for the Galaxy is my number 12. And I suspect it will move up the more I play it. I haven't really done.
Yeah, but it's one of those games that you went out and got, right?
Yeah. It didn't sink. I haven't really, sank my teeth into it yet, but I suspect it'll move up because I did really like it, like you did.
All right.
Is it me?
Yes, sir.
All right. My number 3 is a card game from also the Cosmos 2-player card game, but this is my favorite one, Jambo. Jambo is sort of a trading game in which Jambo.
Wait, are you, before we go any further, are you separating Jambo and Asante, or are you including them together?
So it's the same game, basically. Both.
But you can get, I think, Asante easier at this point?
Asante was never published by Rio Grande.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah. Jambo and Asante are basically the same thing, whatever. Jambo is, like I said, it's a trading game But it's like an economic game that works with 2 players. It's really interesting. You buy stuff and then sell it back for a profit. But on top of that, there's this layer of character cards that have powers that smack the other player across the face, and animals that do really mean stuff. Yet the game finds a great balance between not being a take that and not being purely economic. You know what I mean? That's what I love about it. I think it merges those two in a great balance. The game has a lot of interaction between the players, but also makes you be smart with your money. And really, I mean, the way to win is make more money than the other guy. So I like that a lot. I think it's just a brilliant design, cool original theme. One of my favorite 2-player games, bar none. Jambo is my number 3.
Cool. All right, my number 3 is a game that has kind of crossed over with one of Zee's list. Zee said Carcassonne the City. I'm just going with Carcassonne Vanilla.
That's actually the name of one coming up, so you can't say that.
Okay.
Carcassonne Vanilla.
All right. The base game, Carcassonne. Now, it's not that I don't like the expansions. I just don't. I don't even know what all expansions I have, and we usually use most of the expansions that I have. Don't
even try. No,
please don't.
There's 9 big ones. Never mind all the other ones.
I was just going to list the 9 big ones. All right, fine.
Don't do that.
I'm not a nerd.
You was about to be, sir. You was about to be if you name all the expansions. Carcassonne is a game that I actually didn't purchase for myself, and I didn't get it from him for free. I got it as a Christmas present for my wife, which made it kind of endearing for me. But I think the reason here's why. I think she liked the game so much. You know, she pulled what we get blamed for all the time. Where I'm buying you a game for Christmas.
Honey.
Yeah, look, honey, Imperial Assault. Don't you love it? I think she did this because this is her favorite game, and so I think she bought Carcassonne because she really loved it, but she gave it to me as a present because I was the gamer.
Gotcha.
So anyway, tile laying, building your cities. Apparently, farmers are the way you win the game.
I didn't win.
I know, but the other guy that had farmer did.
Yeah, I came in second. We just played this recently.
Yeah, we just played this last night. So, and so it was fresh in my mind. But anyway, Carcassonne, we won't belabor it. Go check it out. It is a very cool game. Should probably be, I'll even go so far as to say, this should probably be a staple in your gaming collection.
I'm pretty sure it's in our video top 10 essential games.
And if it's not, if you don't have it, this is one of those games you
need to go out and get it. And South Seas and Gold Rush are making it easier to get them now. So go pick it up if you haven't.
Yeah, in fact, if it's not on that list, just where I said factory fun, stick in Carcassonne.
Thank you.
Ooh, yeah, that's very good.
Now I'm going to edit that out.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 has been mentioned already. That is Race for the Galaxy.
Whoa, I thought this was your number 1. I don't know what to
do now. Race for the Galaxy. I already said my love for San Juan was tremendous, and Race took it and gave me a theme I liked, because San Juan's theme, really, I put up with it, but it wasn't, bringing the heat. Mm-hmm. So it gave me a theme I loved, and kicked it up with the strategies, the combos, everything. Yeah, the icons are a pain, and I hate teaching the game, but the game is 30 minutes and packs one of the biggest punches to time ratio in any game I've played.
Yeah.
If you know what you're playing, if you know what you're doing, 30 minutes.
I think if you know what you're doing, you can play it in 20 minutes. You can really play it fast.
Yeah. No, the game is short. Yeah. I thought you meant the other part of that argument.
It feels longer than that, I guess.
That's what he's saying, though. It feels like you're playing this game.
It really gives you a full meal with a little caloric count. That's a weird amount.
No.
Never mind.
You're running into the $190 a plate and then giving me 3 pieces of food.
We've made more terrible analogies on this show probably than any other show.
Anyway, Race for the Galaxy is sort of like an albatross if the...
Stop with the metaphors!
No, Race for the Galaxy, my number 2, an awesome classic card game. Number 2.
You know what? We're not going to have 3 crossovers between us, and we're not going to have 5 crossovers between me and Zan since we've had 1.
Yeah.
No, we've had 2.
Yeah, but I said 5 with me and Z.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Highly optimistic.
Yeah, it was. All right, my number 2 is kind of like Zee's number 2, but it's actually exactly like Tom's number 3, Roll for the Galaxy.
I knew the dice would win you over.
Yes, and really, Roll for the Galaxy has totally kicked Race for the Galaxy in the pants. Bye, see you later. Don't care if I ever play you again, Race. Roll for the Galaxy is where it's at now.
Wow.
Because it takes all of that nasty iconography that is such a bear to get through, and it simplifies it into a very easy to play game. Mm-hmm. And it still has the same flavor, it still has the same feel, and it still plays pretty quick.
Yeah, it does.
But it's much easier to understand and it's much easier to teach. The first time when I was in, I guess this might even be counterintuitive or counterproductive to my argument, but when I was taught how to play Roll for the Galaxy, we had 2 guys that had never played Race for the Galaxy that caught on faster than I did. So 2 new guys that didn't know anything about race caught on a lot faster, and I had to weed through my Race for the Galaxy knowledge.
You had to sort of unlearn Race for the Galaxy.
I had to unlearn what I had learned. Yes,
gotcha.
Thank you, Yoda. So my number 2 is Roll for the Galaxy.
All right, my number 2 is, I don't know if it's actually unique to Rio Grande. I don't know if another company printed this one. Maybe they did.
What is it?
And that's Airlines Europe. It might have been.
It's just them, I think.
But Airlines Europe is a reworking of the USA, the train game.
It's,
Okay, anyway, it's a reworking of a former Alan Moon game. But Airlines Europe is...
Union Pacific.
Union Pacific, you're right. Airlines Europe is just a smooth economic game in which you're buying airplanes, connecting cities, and then trying to have stock in the cities as they grow. So you have to each turn decide, am I going to grow these companies or am I going to kind of claim that I have them? And it's almost like a little bit of a race other people. You're playing chicken in a sense, like which company you're going for? You're going for the orange company? Well, I'm going to make sure the orange company never grows again. And every time I brought this out, I've taught it to new people. I play it with diehard gamers. It just works really well, which is why it's so high on my list. I'm not usually a huge economic stock guy, but I'm looking for...
Is he? I don't think he is.
He used to be.
Oh,
okay, well maybe. What I'm saying is a lot of the games I think don't do it very well, as emphasized by a game we played last night. Okay? But this one I think...
More on that later.
...does it perfectly. So that is Airlines Europe.
And finally, number 1.
All right, now we're rolling 2 dice, so there should not be any ties.
Yeah!
No, probability is... Anyhow, here we go.
Aren't we likely to crowd around 7 now?
Shut up.
Whatever.
Here we go. But you can get the...
This is doing absolutely no good.
7! Oh my god!
You know how it did to it. 7! You were right.
Proven! I thought you were the mathematician. Almost took me out there. Wow. All right. Well, you get to pick, Tom.
All right, I'll go first because I want to guess your 2.
All right.
And then I'll have Ziga and Sam go. Man, I don't know either of yours, and I know they're not my number 1. Well, see, I thought your number 1 was going to be Carcassonne. I really did, and I thought his number 1 was going to be Race for the Galaxy.
Right.
But they were close to the top.
Yeah.
You're going to have a V8 moment when I tell you my number 1.
All right. Well, my number 1. Well, can you guys guess mine?
Dominion.
Yeah, Dominion. Easy enough.
I would have, if you hadn't already mentioned it, I would have probably said Puerto Rico, but.
Oh, no, Dominion. I love Dominion. I love all the expansions for it. It faded a bit in recent years. I wasn't playing as much, but I just pulled it out, a couple weeks ago. Had so much fun playing it again. Just love all the different combinations and all the things you can do in it. Well, I was.
Okay.
I was being destroyed, so you were seeing that aspect. But yes, it's the combinations. I'm getting a little pumped about the new expansion coming out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
My number 1, the original deck builder, maybe not the best deck builder, but a really solid one with tons of variety. Dominion.
Jason had fun arranging it for you.
All right, so
Oh, now that okay, yes.
So what's my number one? Any ideas?
Wow, man. Alhambra?
It's a
That's
card
Queen.
game.
Oh, Rio Grande didn't bring that one over at all?
I think so.
I'm gonna guess
okay.
it's a card game.
No,
Not a card game.
it's a 2-player game only.
Lost City's the board
Two-player
game.
game.
Oh, is it Yinch?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Good call. Nice.
Well, yeah, I guess like 4 other games.
No, but you got it. Yeah, Yinch is my number one that they ever put out, Rio Grande. It is, I already mentioned Czar, which is a game from the same line of games. And I like that one quite a bit also, but Yinch is just, it's easier to teach, I guess, is really what makes it a little bit better for me than the other one. The other one is even quicker and it's even more cutthroat. But Yinch takes ideas that are ingrained in most people's minds from having played any abstract, really, and sort of brings them together in a really cool way. Things like, 5 in a row, and the thing that Othello does, which is when you jump over things, you flip the color, stuff like that. So it takes some of those elements and combines them in a really tight package. Very cool game, amazing production values. I really liked the plastic and the way they sounded and the elegance of the whole thing. One of my favorite abstracts, one of my favorite 2-player games, just one of my favorite games, really, out there. Yinch, my number one. Awesome game.
I cannot think of your game.
It's not going to be Dominion, I'll tell you that.
No, I knew it wouldn't be Dominion either.
Although,
Babel.
no.
You don't like that one? It's got to be.
No,
It's got to be
that's
some
too
other
mean.
2-player game.
To me, no, it's not a 2-player game.
Is it a board game? I mean, not a card game.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it's a board
Animal
game.
or mineral? I don't know. I do not know.
It's got a Love Shack in it.
Oh yeah, Stone Age.
There you go. My number one.
Ah,
I love
yeah,
that
yeah.
clue.
Told you you're gonna have a
I love how,
VA.
like, he says Love Shack, and we're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's
It's the
probably
only game with a Love Shack
bode
in it.
well for us, I think.
But anyway, Stone Age, I've talked about it a lot. It's a game that I really enjoy. It's a worker placement game. A lot of different avenues to victory, which is, well, I guess not a lot of different avenues, but there are multiple avenues to victory. You can usually get points every turn, even if you don't roll well. The dice are mitigated. Get over it, people. And you can do a lot of different things with Stone Age, and there are a lot of different nuances in the game that you really, if you get stuck on the dice, you're missing the nuances, and I think you're missing where the
You
game
must be in some
shines.
kind of argument about this lately.
No, it's just that the last time I mentioned
Fairly
it,
common argument.
yeah, it's a fairly common argument. The dice. I never get anything. Well, you just weren't.
Just weren't rolling well. Learn to roll better,
It's
person.
not that. It's not that. It's just that if the dice, you have to kind of assume that the dice might bite you in the butt on any given turn. So you have to prepare to get points other ways. And then when the dice are rolling for you, you stock up and you can prepare. It's one of my favorite games. It's my favorite Rio Grande game. So you're wrong. I'm right. My number one, Stone Age.
All right.
Okay, so that's our top 10 Rio Grande games. One of the things about making this list was I didn't realize how many games they've made. I mean, this was a hard list to make.
49 pages of stuff.
On the good end of things, right?
Yeah.
There's even games that I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't mention Alhambra. I can't believe I didn't mention this and that. And when he said Czar and Yinch, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
but
a
at the
lot.
same time, I had a really solid top 10. So whatever may happen to Rio Grande in the future, I applaud them. And one of the games on 2 of our lists came out in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
The World for the Galaxy. So who knows what they'll do. So
What's your honorable mentions, man?
I got 11 Felix, the Cat in the Sack.
Good.
12 Roll for the Galaxy.
Good.
13 Lost Cities. 14 Dominion.
Yeah.
15 Palazzo. 16 Babel. 17 Carcassonne regular. 18 If Wishes Were Fishes.
Sam's favorite.
19 Tobago. And 20...
Tobago.
What, Tobago? Okay.
Yeah.
And 20 In the Year of the Dragon.
Okay.
right, what about you?
I didn't have mine in order. I'll just read them. I had Kahuna, another 2-player game
That's the
from
one I
Cosmos
must
line.
have been thinking.
Bonanza, which is a really cool card game.
Yeah.
One
of those games that would have been really high on our list probably a long time ago, right?
I included it because I wore myself out on the game. And I played it so much that
that happens to you more than it happens to us, I think. You really wear yourself out in some games.
I like a game. I keep hitting it. Odin's Ravens, another 2-player Cosmos.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp, pretty cool card game with a Western theme to it. Back when Western themes were underutilized, I think. A Castle for All Seasons, a worker placement game that was pretty neat. Oregon, Mississippi Queen, Asteroids, Piece of Cake, and I actually do have Aquaretto on my short list.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised about A Castle for All Seasons. I didn't think that'd be your style as much.
It's another worker placement game, and it's more Yori than the other ones, so that's why it wasn't on my top 10.
There you guys go. There's a lot. I mean, you Garrett, even from our honorable mentions, we could probably make a top 10 list. That'd be a solid list of 10 games, really. So, yeah, kudos, like Tom said, to Rio Grande, just for putting out so many good games.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia. Have a good one.
And I'm Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, peeps.